Hello, good evening, students. In the today's class, we'll continue up with MCQs on the motion in a straight line. Yeah. Look at this problem. A car runs at a constant speed on a circular track, isn't it? What is the radius of the circular track, students? It is an 100 meter. And it takes 62.8 seconds for every circular lap. Every circular lap, it is taking 62.8 seconds for every circular lap. So that is the time taken for one complete circular motion. Now they are asking you to find what is the average velocity and the average speed for each circular lap. For each circular lap. After completing the circular lap, you know that the displacement will be 0. Suppose if I consider the particle at the point A, if it completes one circular lap means, after completing one circular lap with radius r, the initial point and the final point will be the same. If the initial point and the final point is going to be the same means, you can tell the displacement is equal to 0. If displacement is 0, how to find the average velocity? Average velocity is nothing but the displacement by time taken. Displacement by the time. Since the displacement is 0, 0 by 2 will be 0. So you can tell the average velocity is 0. Then, how to calculate the distance, students? If any particle completes one revolution means the distance covered is equal to 2 pi r. The time taken is t. You know that 2 into pi value, you can take it as 3.14. 3.14 into 62.8 seconds. In the denominator, it is 62.8 seconds. The radius covered is how much? 100. So this is equal to 314 divided by 62.8. 62.8. So 314 into 2 as it is. 3.14 into 100 will be 314 into 2 as it is, divided by 62.8. So 314 into 2 will be 628 divided by 62.8, which is turned out to be 10. So what is the average speed? Average speed is nothing but the total distance traveled by the total time. So the average speed value will be equal to 10 meter per second. What is the average velocity? Average velocity is 0. Average velocity is 0. Average speed value will be 10 meter per second. For average velocity, you have to consider displacement by the time. Average speed will be distance by time. So distance by time is not be 0 because the total distance covered is circumference, that is 2 pi r. So 0, 10 meter per second is the answer. I'll take up this based on the differentiation later. Yeah, look at this problem. Look at this problem. A ball is thrown vertically upward, isn't it? It has speed of how much? 10 meter per second. When it has reached 1/2 of its maximum height. When it reaches 1/2 of its maximum height, its speed is 10 meter per second. They are asking you to find what height does the ball rise. What height the ball is going to rise. Yeah, how to solve this? Let me write the diagram. This is the ground. From the ground, the ball is thrown vertically upward. We don't know what is that velocity. Let it be u. Now, when it reaches the maximum height, the final velocity value will be 0. Let us say the maximum height reaches by this ball is h. So the ball is moving from where to where? It is moving from A to B. What is the height it has covered? H. Velocity is u. What is the condition? That telling that it has a speed 10 meter per second when it reaches 1/2 of the maximum height. 1/2 of the maximum height means h by 2. After h by 2, its speed will be equal to what? 10 meter per second. 10 meter per second. Let us say it reaches the point C. It reaches the point C. After reaching half of the maximum height, it becomes 10 meter per second. Students, here they are asking you to find what is the height h. Now, you considered only this portion. You considered only the half of the portion. That is, it is coming from C to B. It is coming from C to B. Can you tell me what is the height? H by 2. From C to B, the height is h by 2. What is the initial speed from C to B? It is 10 meter per second. From C to B motion, whatever this velocity we have, that will be the initial velocity for the next half of the journey. So 10 meter per second. What is the final velocity at B? After reaching the maximum height, the velocity must be equal to 0. So what is the distance it has covered? H by 2. So what's the equation you are asking to find? They are asking you to find h. So which equation you can use? V squared is equal to U squared plus 2AS. Since it is moving under gravity, I am going to replace the A by minus G. So V squared is equal to U squared minus 2GH. Now substitute the values of VUGH. V value will be 0. U value will be 10 squared minus 2G into 8. So in the place of this, I will put S. So what is the distance covered here? The distance covered is H by 2. So this 2 and 2 will get cancelled out. So 0 equals to 100 minus G into H, that is 10H. If I shift this 10H to that side, it becomes 10H, which is equal to 100. So H will be 100 by 10, that is 10 meter. So what is the height it has covered? 10 meter. So what is the maximum height it has covered? 10 meter. So which is the right option, students? Option A is the right answer. This I will take later. Yeah. Come to this. A man throws a balls with what speed? Same speed. They are going to throw vertically upwards, one after the other, an interval of 2 seconds. What should be the speed of the throw so that more than 2 balls are in the sky at any time? If you considered any time, so the 2 balls must be in the sky. In order to find that, you know that the time interval will be 2 seconds. In order to get more than 2 balls remain in the air means, we want to throw the 3 balls. The third ball at what time you have to send. So for the first case, this is the first ball. This is thrown up with the speed u. You have to calculate this u. Now, after 2 seconds gap, the second ball is thrown vertically up. After 2 seconds gap, the third ball is going to throw. But after any certain time, if you find, you must get the 2 balls in the sky. The 2 balls must be in the sky, minimum. Now, you know what is the time taken to reach the maximum height. So one ball is 2 seconds, the second ball is 2 seconds. So this first ball must be in air for a time of how many seconds? It should be more than 4 seconds, no? The first ball should not come back to the earth less than 4 seconds. Suppose if the first ball comes to the earth surface less than 4 seconds means the 2 balls can't be in the air, because in an interval of 2 seconds we are giving the ball, we are throwing the ball. So to keep 2 balls in air, minimum first ball must be in air for more than 4 seconds, isn't it? Because in 4 seconds gap I am going to throw the ball, so the time taken should be more than 4 seconds. So what is the time taken formula? it should be u squared by 2g, right? Instead of u squared by 2g, you can make use of another formula, that is 2 times of u by g. That should be more than 4 seconds. Why 2u by g? When it reaches the maximum height, you can tell the final velocity will be 0. So time taken should be equal to 2 times of u divided by g. That should be more than 4 seconds. So this clearly tells 2u should be more than 9.8 into 4. So 2 ones are 2 twos are. So u should be more than 9.8 into 2 will be 19.6 meter per second. So the ball should be thrown at least minimum more than 19.6 meter per second. If you throw the first ball for more than 19.6 meter per second, minimum the 2 balls will be in sky, because we have taken the time which is more than 4 seconds. So which will be the right option? Option A will be the right answer. It will be more than 19.6 meter per second. Yeah. Look at this problem. Ball is thrown vertically upward with what speed? U. Distance covered in the last t seconds of its ascent is. Suppose the ball is thrown vertically upward with speed u. Let us say it takes a time t seconds to reach the point here. So the final speed will be 0. The ball has reached from A to B. Now you take last t seconds. Last t second means the rest of this will be t minus 1 seconds. Let us say the distance traveled in t minus 1 seconds will be t minus 1 seconds will be A to C. In general, if you want in the last t seconds, you can assume this is t second. Then you can replace this by capital T. Then this will be capital T minus T. If you get in order to avoid the confusion, the time taken to reach the ball from A to B will be t seconds. So what is the distance covered in the time of t minus t? So distance covered in the t minus t, you can take it as some distance. What is the distance covered in the last seconds? Now, can you write the two equations, students? Can you tell me for A to B? For A to B, let us say the distance covered is h1. What's the formula? h1 is equal to u into, what is the time taken? T minus of g t square. Now, similarly, can you calculate what is A to C? Let us say A to C, the distance is h2. What is h2, students? Initial speed will be same, no, u. But what is the time taken? T minus t. From A to C, the time taken is t minus t. So we have removed the last t seconds. What is the time taken it has reached from C to B? Time taken to reach from C to B is t seconds. So we have removed that. So H2 will be U into T minus T minus of G into T minus T whole square. But what they are expecting? What they are expecting? They are expecting you to find the distance traveled in the last t seconds. So you have to find BC. Let it be BC equals to H. They are expecting you to find the H. So you can tell this H is equal to H1 minus H2. H1 minus H2. This H2 can be further simplified. U into T minus UT minus of G into A minus B whole square format. A squared plus B squared minus 2AB. You can put this. So this H2 value will be UT minus UT minus of GT squared minus of G small t squared. Then minus of minus will be plus GT into capital T. So H is equal to H1 minus H2. If I go with H1 minus H2, UT minus UT will get cancelled out. Minus of GT squared minus of minus plus of GT squared will cancel out. You will get alternative sign, right? So it will be plus UT. Then it will be plus of GT squared. Then minus G into T into capital T. But look at the options. Options are only in small t. It is not with capital T. So whenever the particle is thrown here, it comes to the final speed v. You can find what is t with respect to u. You can use the formula v is equal to u plus gt. V is 0, u will be u minus gravity. Time taken to reach the final velocity will be capital T. Or from this you can tell t is equal to u by g. Now this implies h is equal to ut plus of gt squared minus gt into capital T can be taken as u by g. So this g and g will get cancelled out. So h will be equal to ut plus of gt squared minus ut. So minus ut plus ut will get cancelled out. So h value will be equal to of times of gt squared. So what is the height it has covered? Of gt squared. So option B will be the right option. So this is the distance covered in the last t seconds. So please remember this direct formula also. If any object or particle is thrown vertically upward, if they are asking you to find what is the distance covered in the last t seconds, remember the formula. The distance covered in the last t seconds will be equal to of times of g into t squared. So option B will be the right answer. Yeah. Coming to this is quite important, students. This is frequently asked in the competitive exams. Now, a car is moving with what speed? 40 km per hour. That can be stopped by applying the brakes at least 2 meters. If the same car is moving with a speed of 80 km per hour, what will be the minimum stopping distance? Students, remember this, the concept of stopping distance. Suppose if car is moving with initial speed u, at this particular point, if apply the brakes, then the body comes to rest after traveling a certain distance. So what will be the final velocity? 0. The distance covered will be s. So please remember, students, whenever the car applies the brake moving with the speed u, then it will come to rest after traveling a certain distance s. Now to find this s, we have a formula like v squared is equal to what? U squared plus 2as. So final speed will be 0. Initial speed u squared plus 2 into it is negative acceleration. It is retardation because the final body is coming to rest. So the distance is s. So clearly this tells 2as is equal to u squared. Or you can remember s is equal to u squared by 2a. So please remember, whenever the car applies the brake and if it comes to rest after traveling certain distance means how to calculate that distance? Yes, that stopping distance is given by the formula s is equal to u squared by 2a. U squared divided by 2a. Now clearly this implies that the distance covered is directly proportional to u square. So what is distance covered in the first case to the distance covered in the second case? It will be u1 by u2 whole squared. u1 by u2 whole squared. So s1 by s2 is equal to u1 by u2 whole squared. So S1 by S2 is equal to U1 by U2 whole square. What is the first distance it has coming to rest after applying the brake? It is 2 meter. By what is S2? You have to find. What is the first velocity? 40 kilometer per hour. What about the second case? 80 kilometer per hour whole square. So this is 41s or 42s. So it will be 2 by S2 is equal to 1 by 2 square will be 4. On cross multiplication, S2 value will be equal to 8 meter. So what is the distance covered after doubling the speed? After doubling the speed will become, after the doubling the speed, the stopping distance will become 8 meter, not double. It will not come to 4 meter. It will take square of that. So it will come to be 8 meter. So if the initial speed is increased from 40 kilometer per hour to 80 kilometer per hour, then the stopping distance will come from 2 meter to 8 meter. Remember this formula. It's very, very important, students. After applying the brake, the stopping distance is given by s is equal to u squared by 2a. So the stopping distance will be 8 meter. Got it? Yeah. Look at this problem. There is a rubber ball that is dropped from what height? 5 meter on the plane. It bouncing, it raises to 1.8 meter. So the ball loses its velocity on bouncing by what factor? Write the diagram, students. The ball is dropped, so initial speed will be 0. It comes from A. It reaches to the ground. It reaches to the ground. The height is 5 meters. Now, with what velocity? If this velocity, I will take it as V. Then this rubber ball is going to bounce back. Now, it reaches to this particular point. It bouncing, it rises to what height? 1.8 meter. 1.8 meter. While it bouncing back, let us say the initial speed it is moving up is u. Now they are asking you to find what is the velocity losses due to the bouncing of this ball. Due to the bouncing of this ball. Actually, we can solve this problem by using the two different cases, students. We can make use of with the concept of energy also. Now, whenever the ball is dropped from rest, you know how to calculate the velocity. Velocity is given by the formula root of what? 2gh. So what is V? Root of 2gh. So it is root of 2 into 10 into height. Height is 5. So V is equal to root of 100. What is root of 100? 10 meter per second. Root of 100 is 10 meter per second. Now let us take up the second case. Let us take up the second case. When the ball is moving upward, for the upward, what is the velocity u? It is also given by root of 2gh. Root of 2 into g is 10. Height is 1.8. This is root of 36. U will be 6 meter per second. Now they are asking you to find the ball loses its velocity in what factor? The velocity loss is nothing by what factor means? It is just u divided by v, that is 6 by 10. 6 by 10 means 3 by 5. So it loses the velocity by what factor? It loses the velocity by a factor of 3 by 5. So which is the right option? 3 by 5, that is option A is the correct answer. So students, be very careful. Whenever the particle is dropped from certain height, it reaches to the ground with a speed of root 2gh. When it bounces back to certain height means how to calculate that speed? Let it be u, the same formula root of 2gh. So you know what is the velocity when it is coming down, and also you have calculated with what velocity it bounces back. By what factor the amount of energy is lost because of the striking of the ball with the ground? That is nothing but u by v, that is 6 by 10. So it will be 3 by 5. So the factor will be 3 by 5. I will take this problem later, differentiation concept. Yeah. Look at this. Car is at rest. Car is at rest means what is the initial speed? 0. It accelerates uniformly to what speed? 144 kilometer per hour. In how many seconds? In 20 seconds. It covers what distance? It covers what distance? Yes. I hope it is a very simple problem, students. To find the distance, first you have to find the acceleration. Use the formula V is equal to U plus AT. V is 144, U is 0. Acceleration into time will be 20. So A will be 144 by 20. A will be 7.2. meter per second square. How to find the distance covered? Distance covered is given by the formula S is equal to UT plus half AT square. UT value will be 0. Acceleration is 7.2. Time squared will be 220 square. So half into 7.2 into 20 squared value will be 400. That is 7.2 into 200, or 7.2 into 2 will be 14.4 into 100, or I can take 14.400, that is 1440 meter. So what is the distance covered? It is 1440 meter. But answer is not given right. Yeah, one mistake we did, that is, observe here, this speed is not in meter per second. It is in kilometer per hour, right? Kilometer per hour. You convert this velocity from kilometer per hour to meter per second. How to convert? Yes, how to convert? For 144, you have to just multiply by 5 by 18. It will convert into meter per second. Or you can convert this time in terms of hours. 20 seconds, how to convert into hour? 1 hour equals to how many seconds? 3600 seconds, right? 1 hour equals to 3600 seconds. So for 1 second, how many hours? 3600 seconds. So if for this 20 second, if I multiply by 3600, it will convert into hour. So for this, if I just divide by 3600, I will get in terms of what? Kilometer per hour square. So you can simplify that. Yeah. So better if you convert this, how much you will get? 144 into 5 by 18. It will be come out to be 40 meter per second. So instead of 144, you can use 40 meter per second. 40 meter per second. So 40 by 2 will be 2 meter per second square. So this will become 2. So 2 and 2 will get cancelled out. So 20 squared will be 400. So what is the distance covered? 400 meter. Distance covered will be 400 meter. So you can convert this option D as the answer. You convert this 144 kilometer per hour in terms of meter per second. To convert kilometer per hour into meter per second, you have to multiply by 5 by 18. So 144 into 5 by 18. This is out to be 40 meter per second. So by knowing that velocity 40 meter per second, you can get the value of acceleration. So only the thing, we have not converted that kilometer per hour into meter per second. You have to convert that. Look at this. A body is dropped from a height h with initial velocity 0. It strikes the ground with a velocity of 3 meter per second. So there is one particle here. It is just dropped, means initial velocity will be 0. This is coming down and it strikes the ground. It strikes the ground with height h. It comes to be the velocity v, that is 3 meter per second. You know that whenever the velocity reaches the ground, its velocity is given by the formula v is equal to root of 2gh. So v is equal to root of 2 into g value is 10. Height you have to calculate. This velocity you can replace it as 3. Squaring on both the side, it will becomes 9 equals to root of 20h. So h will be equal to 9 by 20 meter. Now, another body of same mass is dropped from the same height h with an initial velocity 4 meter per second. Now take the second condition. The second condition, the body is going to be thrown vertically downward with speed of 4 meter per second. Now it is going to reach the ground with what velocity? With the same height they are asking. H is the same height. So to find this, what's the formula you're using? V squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. Final speed you have to find. What is u squared? 16 plus 2 into a value will be minus 10. Distance covered is minus 9 by 20. Sir, why this minus? Because the ball is coming downward. For downward, this height should be taken as negative. Actually, no doubt u is also negative, but square is there. Because of the square, that u becomes positive. So can you simplify this? How much you will get? V squared equals to 16. This 2 into 10 will be 20 and 20 will get cancelled out. So minus of minus will be plus 9. So V squared value will be 25. So what will be V? It is root 25. Root 25 is nothing but 5 meter per second. So what is the final velocity for the second ball when it is thrown with some speed? If it is thrown with a speed of 4 meter per second, it reaches the ground with a speed of 5 meter per second. Yeah. Look at this problem. The water is dropping at regular intervals of tap. What is the tap height? 5 meter above the ground. The tap is here. This is the ground. What about the height? 5 meter. They are at regular intervals of time. Now, can you find it is just dropping? So initial speed, you can take it as 0. Can you tell me what is the time taken it reaches the ground? Yeah. The time taken to reach the ground is given by what? 2 times of u squared by g, right? The time taken to reach the ground is given by 2 times of u squared by g. If you not remember this, you can derive this. You know that S is equal to ut plus half a t squared or of gt squared. So distance covered is coming downward -5. Initial speed will be 0. So this will be 5 times of t squared. So t squared, it is -1. So t will be 1 second. So the first drop reaches the ground after a time of how many seconds? After a time of 1 second. When the first drop is somewhere here, the third drop is coming from the tap. So the third drop is coming from the tap. So second drop is somewhere here. And it is dropped at regular intervals of time. So regular intervals of time means for after 1 second, if the third drop is coming means the second drop has already traveled for a time of how many seconds? 0.5 seconds, no? Because the drops are coming at regular intervals of time. If the third drop is coming after 1 second means the second drop has already traveled for a time of 0.5 seconds. So for every 0.5 second, the drop is coming from the tap. Now they're asking you to find what above the ground is the second drop. First you calculate this distance x. So for the second drop, use the same formula. S is equal to ut plus of gt square. What is the distance traveled by the second drop? Distance traveled by the second drop is x. Initial speed will be 0. Half times of g is 10 into t square. T squared is 0.5 squared, no, because the second drop has traveled for a time of 0.5 second. So x value will be equal to 10 by 2 will be 5 into 0.5 squared. 0.5 squared is 0.25. So x will be 5 into 0.25. 5 into 0.25, that is 125 into 0.100, that is 1.25 meter. So what is the distance traveled by the second drop? Distance traveled by the second drop is 1.25 meter. But what they're asking at what height above the ground the second drop is. So they are expecting you to find height above the ground, that is 5 meter minus 1.25, because the total height is 5 meter. This is first drop, this is the third drop, second drop is somewhere here. This distance is x. This is asking from what height it is above the ground. So height is 5 minus x, that is 5 minus 1.25. 5 minus 1.25. How much it is? 3.75 meter. So the second drop is at what height? The second drop is at a height of 3.75 meter above the ground. Yeah. Look at this problem. Velocity of the train increases from 20 to 60. So what is the initial speed? 20 kilometer per hour. What is the final speed? 60 kilometer per hour. It is taking in a time gap of how many seconds? 4 hours. What is the distance traveled by the train? Yes. To find the distance, you must calculate what is the acceleration of the train. Without calculating the acceleration, you can't calculate what is the distance traveled. So how to calculate the acceleration first? You know that V is equal to U plus 80. 60 equals to 20 plus A into 4. Or you can take 40 equals to 4A. So A equals to 10 meter per second square. After finding acceleration, how to calculate the distance traveled by the train? Distance traveled by the train can be calculated by using ut plus of 80 square. So what is u? 20. Time taken is 4 plus acceleration is 10 into t square. What about t square? It is 4 square. So s is equal to 80 plus 5 into 16. Or s is equal to 80 plus what is 16 5za? 16 5za is also 80, right? So s is equal to 80 plus 80, that is 160 meter. So what is the distance traveled by the train during this interval? During this interval, the train has traveled a distance of 160 kilometer, because the distance is in kilometer. So this will be in kilometer. So 160 kilometer. Any doubts in this problem, students? So you have to practice still some more problems. I will stop at this stage. We'll continue the problems in the next session. Still, I required some 2 to 3 sessions to cover up the remaining concepts, students. I'll stop at this stage. We'll continue in the next session. Thank you, students.